So I'm just gonna be direct with you. Theatrhythm Final Fantasy Curtain Call is not only a phenomenal sequel to the original 3DS game, but is hands down one of the best rhythm games I've ever played. So let's cut the crap and go over what makes it so special. Curtain Call's story is really concise. There's two gods, Cosmos and Chaos, and the space between the two is called Rhythm. Inside Rhythm, there's a crystal that controls music, and big surprise, Chaos was like, hey, I got nothing better to do in my life. I just sit here anyway, and decide to be a jerk and disrupt the thing. And what's the only way to solve this? By playing through over 220 songs spanning almost every single Final Fantasy release and going on crazy quests, all while gaining Rhythmia, which restores balance to the crystal. Now as for the gameplay, it's pretty much the same as the original. You choose 4 party members from a pool of Final Fantasy characters, equip items or abilities, and match the corresponding beats in each party's circle thingy. That said, the main problem I had with the original Theatrhythm is that while sliding on the touchscreen worked, sliding all over the place in 8 different directions was such a pain in the butt, especially in Ultimate Mode. If you were 1 centimeter off, it counted as a miss, and at least to me, it didn't feel as fair as it should have been. In Curtain Call, however, the game allows you to play in 4 different styles. The original stylus only, no! A hybrid where you use the touchscreen for taps and the circle pad for arrows, button only, which is exactly how it sounds, and left-handed, which I do not recommend to anyone unless you're a real show-off, or you're using your right hand for something else, like eating chips. Yeah, that's right. Eating chips. But anyway, what I'm trying to say here is that the buttons make the game so much easier to control, and it feels more satisfying when you get the right press. There's a bit of a learning curve for people who are used to the touch controls, but once I got used to the buttons, I used them for everything. Along with a better control scheme, the game's unlocking process has improved in almost every conceivable way. To unlock songs in the first Theatrhythm, you had no choice but to play the story mode repeatedly, at different difficulties I might add. So for rhythm game veterans, it dragged on way more than it should have. In the new games, however, you're given almost every single song in difficulty from the get-go, and playing through and mastering every single song will take you well over 30 hours. Curtain Call wastes no time throwing a boatload of content at you, and it's beyond overwhelming in the best way possible. And you know what the best part is? I haven't even gone over the other modes. There's an RPG mode called Quest Medley, where you go on mini journeys with branching paths and items to collect. Yeah, it is pretty simple when you think about it, but as a rhythm game, it's more of an endurance mode with different paths yielding different risks and rewards. It's addictive, and despite the slow difficulty curve, it works really well. There's also a versus mode where you can battle players locally, online, or even in a ranked AI single-player mode. The main difference between this and the other modes is primarily EX burst skills, which randomly trigger 1 of 9 abilities when your XP bar maxes out. It's tons of fun, and once you conquer the other modes, I see the versus mode as a true test of the player's skill, even though the Moogle announcer is the most annoying thing ever. How about you shut the heck up, Kupo? Throw in some collectible cards, 4 radically different playstyles depending on the song, getting brand new quests through Street Pass, and the insane amount of customization. I mean, you can actually unlock new sound effects, and you can pretty much kiss all your free time goodbye. Now with all that praise said, there's 2 main things that bother me with Curtain Call. The first one's that, like the original, the RPG elements still feel like a shoo-in since the effects they have on combat are pretty much optional. I mean, yeah, having abilities in higher levels makes you defeat more enemies and get rarer drops, leveling up increases your health bar, and items do help you get through a stage easier, but it's all automated. If you tap everything the way you're supposed to, you beat the song anyway, and these items are pretty much there to do more damage or make you survive a bit longer. That's it. It's a good concept, but it's still half-baked, and I really wish it would have fleshed this out since this is the sequel. Now my second problem isn't really a problem per se, but it showed me that it wasted my money. Save for 1 FF15 song, all the original 3DS songs were put into Curtain Call. Now usually I'd be fine with this, for instance Rock Band lets you import older version songs, but for the original I spent over $15 in DLC, and all of the original DLC songs for Theatrhythm are also in Curtain Call, so it's a little annoying that my old cartridge is nothing but a hunk of plastic now. And seeing that Curtain Call has over 50 DLC songs at launch, it all just kinda rubs me the wrong way. And not just because it's a stylus game. In conclusion, despite my small annoyances, Theatrhythm Final Fantasy Curtain Call is one of the most content-filled, visually appealing, and most importantly, satisfying rhythm games I have ever played. If you're a fan of rhythm games, Final Fantasy, or heck you just like good video game music, then I highly recommend picking this game up. Just avoid the money-grabbing free-to-play iOS version, and you're good. Curtain Call is good gameplay, great visuals, a great soundtrack, and great length, and overall is a great game for, once again, Final Fantasy fans and rhythm game fans. And that's as direct as it's gonna get from me.